Hello to you and welcome to Adelante Chicago. I'm Lourdes Duarte. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bienvenidos. Well, after a violent weekend here in Chicago left at least 6 people dead and close to 40 injured, community leaders are calling for a new violence prevention program while the city and the state figure out exactly what to do. Organizations like New Life Centers continue to fight to decrease violence throughout their neighborhoods, throughout their communities, through outreach programs that, according to studies, show they have produced positive results. Here to talk more about these programs is Aaron Rivas with New Life Centers. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled to be here in this space, in this place at this time. And, to be the kind of like the face and the voice of the community, it's a great honor for me to be here.
And I'm sure they are grateful to have you joining them in their neighborhood. So let's talk about what you guys have been doing. Yes. Tell me how you're reaching juveniles, teens out in your community, in your neighborhood.
So I started my work as a mentor for New Life Centers back in 2017. And in 2017, the resources that we have now, obviously we didn't have them back then. So what we were presented with in 2025 was with this new funding that was going to hit our community, private, public, some business sectors, kind of pitching into, to see what we can come up with.
And when you say your community, Little Village, Humboldt Park,
the community of Little Village, Humboldt Park, Brighton Park, Pilsen. So we kind of...
So many of the Latino communities and neighborhoods.
Yes.
Okay. So you were going to be presented with this funding.
Yeah, and we kind of came together and created an ecosystem of organizations that, came up with a plan and said, how can we do something? How can we use this and utilize it to maximize the money that's coming into the community so that it could be for the community. And it was through the SC2 initiative that was implemented in Little Village in 2025 that we were able to target 225 individuals from the Little Village community. And with those individuals, we matched them up with a mentor, a case manager, and then we plugged them to either a job readiness pillar, education pillar, and then for me, the most important one is the mental health pillar. And, for a year, these guys were in our program, creating goals, and just, we're meeting them where they're at. Like, what is it that is your need? What do you want to do? And just guiding them towards that, that pathway.
Okay, so let's dig in a little deeper, and we're watching some pictures, I assume, of some of the programs that you run to keep them sort of in line, keep them doing well. How did you find some of these kids, some of these teenagers? Was there an age range? Kind of, how did you tackle finding them?
Yeah, so historically, funding the window was 16 to 24-year-olds. And we noticed that, there was a lot of 13, 14, 15-year-olds and people that are like over the age of 24 that needed mentoring, that needed these type of resources. And with this new SC2 initiative, we were able to, kind of remove that window. And now we're serving our youngest guys on a caseload is probably like 13. And our oldest individuals on our caseload could be from the range of 50 to, even a 60-year-old.
Wow. Yes. Okay. Yes. So you got through that barrier of age and made them realize that, look, it's a problem at any age and any side of the spectrum that you look.
For sure.
And I always hear, the younger you can reach kids, 13, 12, 11, 10 years old, the better outcome you'll have.
No, for sure. So a lot of the young guys gravitate towards our safe spaces, our outdoor activities, and a lot of these. This new program comes with a stipend. So as they're getting their vital documents ready, they're getting their GED preparations, they're getting their resumes done, and all that. We're putting a little bit of money in their pocket so they can sustain themselves. And to be honest, that has gone a super long way. Yes.
Okay. So can you sort of give me anecdotally some of the stories that you've got of kids who have, because this started, a year ago,
yeah,
right?
2025, February 2025 was...
So I imagine you've kept track of some of these kids.
Oh,
so give me an example how one kid came in without naming names,
right?
What they were doing and where they are today.
So I'll give you a family. It was 3 brothers who were part of our programming, and we knew them way before we launched this initiative. So these three individuals, you know, they historically, their family have been going through a lot of hardships, lost family members, incarceration, just, you know, a lot of that unemployment, and you know, they were just going through it.
The whole family.
The whole family. So with the SC2 funding, like I said, we were able to be flexible with it, and we created something that we called an emergency fund bucket. So with this emergency funds, our participants, you know, when we find out what their living situation is like, if they're behind rental assistance, if they're behind bills. So anyways, this family was heating up water on an electric, like, kettle, a small kettle, and it's a large family, and you know, we found out that they were heating water to take bath, and it's a large family, like I said. So once we found that out, we were able to kind of like request funding for that family, and you know,
you were able to help. How are they doing today?
Well, today, you know, one of their youngest members graduated from grammar school, and you know, we were all there to celebrate with him.
Okay, so you're like a support group for them. Yeah.
Actually, one of the older brothers, today's his birthday, so happy birthday, my boy. He knows who it is, and yeah, you know, the family is like, not just, you know, with the brothers, but the mom, the dad, the grandma, like everybody. We're all in tune with, you know, with everyone, and they're super grateful, and we're super thankful to
walking
be in
along
their life.
with them.
Yes.
One of the other things that you mentioned is this idea of mental health and the focus that you have to have on mental health in some of our neighborhoods. How do you help them in that avenue?
You know, historically in the Latino community, like nobody grew up with a therapist.
Mental health is taboo in the Latino community, even today.
Yeah. So, you know, our approach to that is, it's kind of like, you know, talking to them, you know, using their own language, and like, how do you feel, man, when you see the police, you know, come by the neighborhood? How do you feel when you see a car that you've never seen before, or when, you know, when you're walking home at night, or you know, what feelings do you get? And that's not normal. So, you know, kind of like opening up that space to say, hey, man, you know, we understand that you've seen so much. We understand that the neighborhood, the community has seen so much historically, and that we know, whether they're asking us or not, we know that the mental health aspect need is there for not just the individuals that we serve, but I think about the parents who watch their kids walk down the street where somebody just got gunned down not too long ago, or historically, you know, we know things that happen, you know, within the community, and you know, I think that mental health aspect, not just for the kids, but for the entire family, is
makes a difference.
Sure.
So let's get the information up on the screen for families out there who maybe they want to help, they want to offer funding, they want to make sure that their kid benefits from this. It's newlifecenters.org. You go to that page, you can find all the information that you need. Thank you so much.
No, appreciate the space. Thank you, guys.
Continue the great work.